My wife had a ton of breast milk. After our baby was born, her best friend, Peach, showed up one day with her son, asking my wife to nurse him. After that, the two of them would spend hours in the bedroom together. I'd hear them giggling and breathing heavy sometimes. 6 months later, I saw my wife come out looking flushed, eyes all glassy after feeding Peach this kid. That's not how someone looks after breastfeeding a baby. I told her I wanted a divorce. She just stared at me. You want to divorce me for helping my friend feed her baby? Yes. After Winter had our daughter, she had plenty of milk. She started nursing Peach's son, too. I kept seeing that kid pressed up against her chest. And every single time she finished, her face would be all red. I couldn't take it anymore. Today, I asked Winter for a divorce. When I tried to leave, Peach grabbed my arm. Tyler, are you crazy? She's just helping me feed my baby. She didn't do anything wrong. What? You're jealous because of the boy? I shoved her off. You both know exactly what's going on. Danny, Peach's boyfriend, walked in. When he heard what happened, he laughed and patted my shoulder. Dude, your wife's a good woman. She feeds the baby in private. Don't blow this out of proportion. Get your hands off me. I pulled away. My mother-in-law, you really quick with a comeback. Looked stunned. Oh, my God. What is wrong with you? Do you have any idea how painful breast engorgement is? Instead of feeling bad for her, you want a divorce. Are you even human? Her yelling brought the neighbors over. Once they heard the story, everyone was glaring at me. This guy only thinks about one thing. He doesn't even care that his wife's suffering. Be glad she doesn't have postpartum depression. I heard Winter gave him money when he was broke, and now he wants out. That's messed up. Peach snapped. If we knew you were like this, we never would have let Winter marry you. Winter started crying before I gave birth. I was worried about your company. I brought you clients. After the baby came, you didn't care about me at all. You just played video games. When she cried at night, you never got up. You never even changed a diaper. Do you know how much this hurts? Look it up. Peach is my best friend. She can't produce enough milk, so I'm helping. What's wrong with that? Everyone piled on. Tyler, you suck as a husband. Thank God my man actually cares. Took care of me when I had my baby. I laughed. You're all blind. You have no clue what's really going on here. Winter, we're filing for divorce tomorrow. I'll be there. I headed for the door. Peach grabbed me again. You piece of crap. She swung at me. I didn't see it coming. Blood started dripping from my nose. Danny stepped up, ready to throw a punch, too. Stop. Winter ran over, pushed him back and wiped my face. Honey, look, daughter's only a few months old. You really want to leave us? The baby saw me and giggled. I sighed. I want a divorce. He's got someone else. Don't let me go. I'm gonna kill him. They still didn't get it. They had no idea who the real cheater was. Danny held Peach back. Tyler, if you're upset because Winter fed my son, Peach can just take him home. We were already thinking about formula anyway. You and Winter can work it out, right? Everyone nodded. That's fair. If she uses formula, Winter won't have the extra milk. Problem solved. She helped you when your business was struggling. Where are you going to find another wife like that? They all tried to smooth things over. But I looked at Winter. No, I want a divorce. They all got mad. Winter wiped her tears. He said she won't nurse his son anymore. Can't you just forgive me? She came closer and whispered. I'll pump all my extra milk for you from now on. Would that make it up to you? I felt sick. I pushed her away. Can you stop with the act? Winter got on her knees, holding her daughter. Honey, helping my friend isn't a crime. I'll change. Can't you forgive me just this once? No, she sobbed. Please forgive me, Winter. This guy's petty and doesn't care about you. Don't waste your time. The crowd was furious. Then my dad pushed through. Tyler, Winter's done so much for this family. When your company was struggling, when her mom was in the hospital, it was Winter who helped. She's been so good to us. If you divorce her, you're not my son anymore. Dad, stay out of this. I gave him a look, then turned to Winter. I'll give you one chance. Tell me the real reason. Panic flashed across Winter's face. Just for a second, I told you I have extra milk. If you don't like it, I'll stop. My dad glared. Winter's so understanding. Where are you going to find someone like her? I shook my head. Dad, I'm getting divorced no matter what you bad. He slapped me across the face. Half my face swelled up. Hit him again. He deserves it. The crowd cheered. Tyler, are you okay? Winter brought over some medicine. All gentle. Such a good wife, and he doesn't appreciate her. So someone muttered. I push her away. Stop pretending Winter looked hurt, please. I really don't want a divorce. Our daughter needs a father. Begging won't help. I walked to the door. You really want this? Then I don't have a son anymore. My dad shouted. That stung. At my age, I was still causing him grief. But this was my marriage. I had to deal with it myself. Winter, have someone send you the papers. I kept walking behind me. Winter broke down crying. I went back to my office, got my documents together, and called my lawyer friend to handle the divorce. Honey, what did I do wrong? Have you calmed down the baby? And I need you. We're waiting for you to come home. I checked into a hotel and got text from Winter. I blocked all her numbers. Next day, she got the papers. She ripped them up. Peach was so mad, she posted the whole thing online. People went crazy. I started trending. Damn, his wife helped him out, and he still doesn't appreciate her. His wife had milk, but didn't give him any, so he wants a divorce. He's probably cheating and made up an excuse. I'm a mom. Breast on gorge man is a ribble. Well, my friend couldn't produce. Nursed her baby too. My husband understood. Marrying a guy like this is the worst luck ever. I got destroyed online. My info got leaked. People vandalized my parents' house, so they had to hide. People started boycotting my company. My assistant came in looking worried. Mr. Tyler, because of this, our products are getting boycotted. Stock's tanking. Clients are pulling out. The warehouse is packed. Factory might shut down if we don't do something. I grabbed my head. I'll figure something out. I called my lawyer, Violet, to come over. Tyler, the hearing's set for next Monday. She handed me some documents and sent me a few videos. Thank you so much. Don't mention it. If you hadn't saved me back then, I wouldn't be here. She winked and left. I looked through the documents and videos. My face went dark just like I thought. Winter was exactly what I suspected. When the truth comes out, everyone's gonna be shocked. In the days before the hearing, I got slammed online. My phone blew up. The stock kept dropping. Products piled up. The bank demanded payment and froze my accounts. If I didn't win this, the company was done. I'd lose everything. Finally, court day came. A ton of people showed up, including media. People were watching the live stream, waiting to see me get humiliated. The judge opened the session after both lawyers spoke. Winter said I didn't do anything wrong. Plus, I just had a baby. I don't want a divorce. Judge nodded. Under the law, without solid evidence, the divorce can't be granted. Winter looked smug. Honey, let's just drop this, okay? Look how cute our daughter is. You really want her growing up without a dad? The baby was sleeping peacefully. No, I said. My wife Winter cheated on me. I want an immediate divorce. She gets nothing. Winter stared at me in disbelief and started crying. I go to work and come home. I only hang out with Peach and a few others. And you're accusing me of cheating? What kind of person are you? The crowd erupted. She looks like a devoted wife. How could she cheat? This jerk probably has another woman online. People were tearing me apart. Even my dad took her side. If you back down now, I can still call you my son. My mom looked worried. Tyler, maybe just let it go. Everyone, I have evidence. Once you see it, you'll understand. I looked at the judge and played a video. In the video, Winter was holding our daughter. Peach had her son, and they were at a mall. Danny trailed behind carrying shopping bags. Danny kept staring at Winter, then glancing at Peach. Soon, both babies got hungry and started crying. After trying to calm them down, Peach suggested they use the mall's nursing room, but it was full, so they went to a nearby hotel room to feed the babies. Danny followed, but walked out soon after and headed to the parking lot. What's wrong with this video? Yeah, this is totally normal. This guy is crazy. He has no idea how hard it is with a baby. The courtroom exploded. Then people noticed Violet sitting next to me. Is this guy hooking up with his lawyer? Violet blushed a little. Don't be ridiculous. Mr. Tyler and I have a strictly professional relationship. The judge called for order. Can you imagine what they were doing in that room? People started looking thoughtful. I smirked. The next video is going to blow this wide open. The courtroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. All eyes were glued to the projection screen. Violet didn't even blink as she pressed a button on her remote. Exhibit B, she announced, her voice slicing through the heavy air. Footage obtained legally by a licensed private investigator from the building across from the hotel. The screen flickered. It was a wide shot of the hotel window, the curtains only partially drawn. The quality was crystal clear, shot with a high-end telephoto lens. In the video, the hotel room door opened. It wasn't room service. It was Danny. He hadn't gone to the parking lot at all. He had just looped around to avoid the lobby cameras and used a key card to get back in. On screen, Peach stood up immediately. She didn't look like a struggling mother needing help to feed her child. She looked like a bouncer. She calmly took her son, picked up my infant daughter from Winter's arms, and rolled their strollers into the adjoining suite, shutting the heavy oak door behind her. Then the bomb dropped. Winter and Danny didn't even wait for the door to click shut. They practically tore each other's clothes off, crashing onto the hotel bed. The courtroom erupted into a collective gasp. A few reporters in the back row let out audible curses. The live stream comments, which had been projecting on a secondary monitor, turned into a blur of absolute chaos. Wait, what? Bro, she's hooking up with her best friend's man, while the friend is in the next room. But it wasn't over. Violet hit another button. Now for the audio. This is from a voice-activated recorder my client legally placed inside his own property. The diaper bag he purchased, carried by his wife. Static hissed through the courtroom speakers, followed by the muffled sounds of heavy breathing and giggling. It was the exact same sickening sound I had heard outside my own bedroom door for months. Then, Danny's voice rang out, clear as day. God, you're amazing. Is your idiot husband getting suspicious yet? Winter's voice answered, breathless and flushed. Tyler? Please. He's totally clueless. He thinks I'm a saint for helping out poor, barren Peach. The breast milk thing is the perfect cover. I can come out sweating and red in the face, and he just feels sorry for me. It's hilarious. You're evil, Danny chuckled darkly. How long until the idiot caves and signs over the company's shares? My firm is ready to absorb his client list the second his stock hits rock bottom. Soon, Winter purred on the recording. I've been feeding his top clients' info to Peach. Once he's bankrupt, I'll divorce him, take half of whatever's left, and we won't have to hide anymore. The recording clicked off. Total, suffocating silence gripped the courtroom. I looked over at Winter. All the color had drained from her face. She looked like a ghost, her mouth opening and closing, but no words came out. Beside her, her lawyer looked like he wanted to crawl under the table and die. He started rapidly shuffling his papers, physically distancing himself from her. You want to know why she looked flushed? I looked out at the gallery, making eye contact with the reporters, the onlookers, and finally my parents. Why her eyes were glassy? It wasn't the pain of breast engorgement. It was a post-coital glow from sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend while the best friend stood guard and went through my stolen company files. It's a deep fake. Winter suddenly shrieked, her voice cracking. Tyler, why are you doing this to me? That's not me. It's AI. He's trying to frame me, so he doesn't have to pay alimony. Violet stepped forward, cool as ice. Your Honor, I have sworn affidavits from the PI, the raw, unedited footage with metadata, and a digital forensics report confirming its authenticity. Furthermore, I have one last piece of evidence. Violet walked over to the bailiff and handed him a sealed envelope. She handed a duplicate to Winter's pale attorney. Exhibit C, Violet stated. A court-ordered, legally binding DNA test conducted last week. Winter froze. Her eyes darted from Violet to me, raw panic finally breaking through her victim persona. I love my daughter, I said, my voice dangerously calm. I worked 70 hours a week to build a future for her. When Winter cried that I was neglecting her, I was trying to save my business. A business that was failing because Winter was secretly passing my client list to Danny's shell company. I took a breath, but something bothered me. If Winter was sleeping with Danny for months, I needed to be sure. The judge opened the envelope. He read the paper, his eyebrows shooting up to his hairline. He looked down at Winter with a mixture of disgust and pity. The test confirms, the judge said, his voice echoing in the dead silent room. Tyler is a 0% match to the child. He is not the biological father. A woman in the gallery screamed. My mother clamped a hand over her mouth, bursting into hysterical tears. Wait, there's more, Violet added, leaning into the microphone. We secretly tested Danny's DNA against the child, obtained from a discarded coffee cup. Danny is the biological father of the baby Winter just gave birth to. In fact, medical records show Peach isn't even capable of having children. The son that Peach brings around, that's also Danny and Winter's child. Winter was his mistress 3 years ago, gave birth to their first kid, and Peach, Danny's partner in crime, adopted it to keep up appearances while they plotted to drain my client's assets. The courtroom exploded. The gavel banged furiously, but the noise was deafening. I watched the live stream chat moving so fast, it was a solid blur of text. Holy S asterisk asterisk dot asterisk. She gave him 2 fake kids? Lock her up. Worst wife of the century. I'm deleting my tweets right now. Tyler, I am so sorry. Winter completely lost her mind. She scrambled over the defense table, ignoring the bailiff who tried to grab her arm. Tyler, please. It was Danny's idea. He manipulated me. I love you. The baby still knows you as her dad. I didn't step back. I just looked at her, feeling absolutely nothing. The anger had burned out, leaving only cold, hard resolve. Don't ever speak to me again, I said softly, but loud enough for the microphone to catch it. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the gallery. My dad pushed his way to the front. The man who had slapped me across the face, who had disowned me in front of our entire neighborhood, looked like he had aged 20 years in 5 minutes. His hands were trembling. Tyler, he croaked, tears spilling down his wrinkled cheeks. My God, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I hit you. I defended that monster. I looked at my dad. The sting on my cheek from days ago seemed to throb again. We'll talk later, Dad. Sit down before you have a heart attack. The judge pounded his gavel one last time, his face a mask of judicial fury. Order in this court. The judge glared at Winter and her lawyer. I've seen a lot of brazen, disgusting behavior in my years on the bench, but this is a masterclass in fraud. Divorce is granted immediately. Given the irrefutable evidence of infidelity and financial sabotage, the prenuptial cheating clause is activated. Winter gets absolutely nothing. 0 alimony. 0 assets. Winter let out a blood-curdling wail and collapsed onto the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Furthermore, the judge continued, looking at Violet. Counsel, I am forwarding Exhibit B and the audio recordings to the district attorney's office. The evidence suggests corporate espionage, wire fraud, and grand larceny involving this woman, Daniel Vance, and Penelope Peach Harris. I suggest you file civil suits immediately. Already drafted, Your Honor. Violet smiled faintly. Court is adjourned. Walking out of the courthouse felt like stepping onto a different planet. The front steps were mobbed. The very same reporters and influencers who had camped out outside my hotel to harass me a week ago were now shoving microphones in my face, shouting apologies, and begging for an exclusive. Tyler, how does it feel to be vindicated? Tyler, are you going to sue Danny's company? Mr. Tyler, the hashtag sorry Tyler, is trending #1 globally. Any words for your supporters? I stopped at the top of the stairs, adjusting my suit jacket. Violet stood right beside me, radiating professional intimidation. A week ago, I set into the sea of microphones, my voice steady. I was labeled a monster. My business was boycotted. My parents' house was vandalized. People threw rocks through their windows because of a heavily edited sob story posted online by a group of con artists. I want everyone watching to remember this. The internet is a weapon. You all pulled the trigger without knowing who was standing in front of the barrel. I paused, letting the camera zoom in on my face. To my clients who pulled their contracts, I understand. But as of today, my company is filing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Danny Vance's firm for corporate espionage. My business is clean, it is secure, and we are moving forward. I looked straight into the central camera lens, into Danny and Peach. I'm coming for everything you own. I turned and walked down the steps, Violet flanking me as security guards cleared a path to my waiting car. By the time I sat in the back seat and the doors locked, the adrenaline finally crashed. I leaned my head against the tinted window, letting out a long, ragged exhale. Violet handed me a tablet. Look, I glanced at the screen. It was my company's stock ticker. It was moving up. Not just up, it was skyrocketing. The sympathy by effect was in full swing. Investors who had dumped us were scrambling to buy back in after realizing we had been victims of an illegal sabotage campaign by a rival firm. Your main distributor just emailed, Violet said, scrolling through her phone. They want to double their order for the next quarter. And the bank just called. Your accounts are unfrozen, and they are offering to extend your credit line by $10 million, 0 questions asked. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. Crazy how fast the world spins when the truth gets out. You earned it, Tyler, Violet said softly, her strict lawyer facade dropping for just a second to reveal genuine warmth. You kept your head when most men would have broken. I almost did, I admitted, looking at the city blurring by outside. But I'm not done yet. The downfall of Winter, Peach, and Danny was spectacular, fast, and incredibly public. When the police rolled up to Danny's corporate office 2 days later, local news helicopters were hovering above. The live feed showed Danny being led out of his glass front lobby in handcuffs, his expensive suit rumpled, trying to hide his face behind a briefcase. He was hit with charges of corporate espionage, conspiracy to commit fraud, and racketeering. But the real drama happened back at Danny's luxury condo. Peach, realizing that Danny had secretly fathered 2 children with her best friend, Winter, and was planning to cut her out of the Tyler payday, completely snapped. According to the police reports that leaked online, Peach waited for Winter to show up at the condo. Winter had nowhere else to go. She was locked out of my house, her bank cards were disabled, and she was carrying a newborn she couldn't afford. When Winter walked into the lobby, Peach attacked her. It wasn't just a slap. Peach went feral, destroying Winter's designer bags, screaming that Winter was a backstabbing homewrecker. The irony was so thick you could choke on it. The 2 women who had giggled behind my bedroom door, plotting my ruin, ended up rolling around in a pile of shattered glass in a luxury lobby until the police tossed them both. The mugshots went viral instantly. Winter, sporting a black eye and missing a chunk of hair. Peach, mascara smeared down her face, looking genuinely deranged. I sat in my corner office, sipping a black coffee, watching the news clips play out on my monitor. My assistant, who had been crying in my office just weeks ago about factory shutdowns, walked in carrying a massive stack of folders. She had a huge grin on her face. Boss, we just secured the Henderson account. And 3 of Danny's top clients called this morning. They're dropping his firm and want to sign with us. They said they don't do business with criminals. Send them the premium contracts, I said, not taking my eyes off the screen. Know these counts? Yes, sir. She hesitated by the door. Oh, by the way, there's someone downstairs at security. They won't leave. It's Winter. My hand stopped halfway to my mouth. I placed the coffee mug down slowly. Did security call the cops? They were about to, but she's begging to just see you for 5 minutes. She's standing out in the rain. I looked out the window. It was pouring. A gray, miserable thunderstorm had swallowed the city. Tell security to let her into the lobby. Don't let her pass the turnstiles. I'll be down. I took the elevator down to the ground floor. The lobby of my building was massive, all polished marble and glass. Standing dripping wet by the security desk was Winter. She looked entirely broken. The perfectly manicured, glowing, devoted mother facade was completely gone. She was wearing cheap sweatpants, her hair plastered to her skull, shivering uncontrollably. The black eye Peach had given her was a nasty shade of purple. She wasn't holding the baby. CPS had temporarily placed the kids in foster care, pending the criminal investigation. When she saw me, her eyes lit up with a desperate, pathetic kind of hope. Tyler, she tried to run toward me, but the two massive security guards instantly blocked her path. Tyler, please. Tell them to let me through. I walked up to the security desk, stopping a good 5 feet away from her. I put my hands in my pockets and just stared at her. You have 2 minutes before I press trespassing charges, I said. My voice echoed in the empty lobby. Winter burst into tears. Real tears this time. Tyler, I have nothing. Danny abandoned me. He told his lawyers to pin the corporate theft on me, saying I stole the documents on my own to impress him. They froze my accounts. My parents won't even answer my calls because of the shame. I'm sleeping in a motel. Tyler, please. She dropped her knees right there on the marble floor. Please, Tyler. I know I messed up. I know it was sick and twisted. But we were married. We shared a life. Remember the early days? Remember when your company was struggling and I made you dinner every night? I was there for you. I looked down at her, feeling a profound sense of disgust. You're right, I said quietly. I remember the early days. I remember thinking I was the luckiest guy in the world. But that woman died a long time ago. Or maybe she never existed. The woman who made me dinner was the same woman who let another man into our bed and smiled in my face while handing my life's work over to my rival. I was stupid, she wailed, clutching at her chest. Danny brainwashed me. He told me you didn't really care about me, that you only cared about work. He made me feel wanted. You made a choice. I interrupted, my tone turning sharp. Every time you lied about feeding the baby. Every time you faked a flush to cover up your cheating. Every time you watched my stock plummet and laughed about it on a recording. Those were thousands of individual choices. You didn't get brainwashed. You got greedy. Please, she sobbed, crawling an inch forward until the guard stepped on her shoe to stop her. Just a loan. $10,000. Just enough to get a lawyer and get my baby back. Tyler, you're rich now. The company is booming. 10,000 is nothing to you. I leaned down slightly, making sure she could see the absolute void in my eyes. You're right. 10,000 is nothing to me now. I pulled a sleek, metal business card holder from my pocket. I extracted a card and tossed it. It landed on the wet floor right in front of her knees. This is the number for a homeless shelter 2 miles from here. I hear they offer free legal aid on Tuesdays. Winter stared at the card, then looked up at me, her expression morphing from sorrow to pure, venomous hatred. You're a monster, she spat, her true colors finally bleeding through the tears. You're a cold, heartless bastard. I'm the monster you created, I replied flatly. I looked at the security guards. Throw her out. If she comes within 500 feet of this building again, have her arrested. I turned my back and walked toward the elevators. I could hear her screaming, cursing my name, kicking and fighting as the guards dragged her out into the pouring rain. The heavy glass doors slid shut, cutting off her voice entirely. I stepped into the elevator, hit the button for the top floor, and exhaled. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel happy. But for the first time in a year, I felt clean. 6 months later, the city was bathed in the warm, golden light of early autumn. I sat at a corner table in a high-end rooftop restaurant, adjusting the cuffs of my tailored suit. My phone buzzed. It was an alert from Google News. Daniel Vance sentenced to 8 years in federal prison for corporate fraud. Penelope Peach, Harris accepts plea deal, 3 years probation. Local woman, Winter Vance, formerly Tyler, files for bankruptcy following massive civil suit loss. I swiped the notification away. It was old news to me now. My civil suit had stripped Danny and Winter of whatever assets they had left. I didn't even keep the money. I donated every cent of their settlement to a charity for single fathers. You're staring at your phone again. Bad habit for a CEO. I looked up. Violet was walking toward the table. She looked stunning, wearing a sharp crimson dress that contrasted perfectly with the city skyline behind her. She took a seat across from me, a confident smile playing on her lips. Just checking the stock price. I lied smoothly, putting the phone face down. How was court today? Boring, she sighed, picking up the wine menu. No secret bugs and diaper bags, no explosive hotel room footage. Just standard contract disputes. Honestly, you ruined my expectations for dramatic reveals. I laughed, a genuine, easy laugh that came from my chest. I aimed to please. The waiter poured our wine. I raised my glass. To moving on, I said. Violet clinked her glass against mine, her eyes holding mine just a second longer than strictly professional. To moving on, she agreed. And to bulletproof prenups. I smiled, taking a sip of the wine. Down below, the city was massive, chaotic, and full of moving parts. Somewhere out there, Winter was living the miserable reality she had built with her own 2 hands. And somewhere out there, Danny was trading his tailored suits for a jumpsuit. But sitting here, surrounded by the life I had rebuilt from the ashes, none of that mattered anymore. I had survived the fire, and I was exactly where I was supposed to be,